We see the same thing from Millenium now. Castle in blue side. They love to do it when they're on blue side because Curb doesn't actually play it, so they don't want to first pick it, so they ban it away. Pretty much every time they're blue side, and once they're purple, they leave it open and try and counter pick it.
So the first pick then was not messed around with whatsoever by Millenium, picking up Lucian straight away for Creaton. And we see that 95% pick rate has Lucian, and over a 50% win rate as well. We'll see if the flip of the coin percentage is good for Creaton this match.
But this Lucian pick here must have been very easy for Millenium to predict, because ROCCAT in every single game they just ban away Twitch.
Yep.
Celabar clearly doesn't play it, so and they feel like they need to ban it. So it's easy for Millenium to say, okay, we expect you to ban Twitch. If you do, instant first pick Twitch. Instant first pick Lucian, of course. Celabar now has to find a different AD carry. Could be Jinx. We've seen quite a lot of Jinx lately.
And Celabar himself brought out the Jinx last week, and we see that Jankos not looking happy at how this has all gone down. The Lucian pick coming in very quickly, and he does not look like that was the optimal plan here, let's call it, for ROCCAT. They take the Lee Sin and Brom as well for the support role. Look at Millenium. They are definitely on plan right now, taking Elise for the jungle, taking Morgana for J-Ree's support.
So standard jungle picks here. We keep talking about the elite of junglers, Elise, Evelynn, and Lee Sin. Elise and Lee Sin being locked in this game here. And then Morgana as the counter pick to Braum here in the laning phase. Very good with Black Shield. You stopped pretty much just the stun from Braum to have from happening there, and it's very hard now for Braum to actually engage onto you in the laning phase. And of course Black Shield will help in the team fights as well here. So Millenium know exactly what they want to play.
So what do we get then from ROCCAT's side of things? It's Lucian, Morgana for Millenium's bottom lane. Corki we've started to see a little bit more of at this stage, and obviously ROCCAT feel that Celabar, as we heard in the video, is going to be a big part of this win.
100%, and they want to prove that he's the better Polish AD carry compared to Creaton, as they said in the video, of course. And this Corgi pick, we've seen it quite often in NA, and it's simply because it's actually very strong early on in the laning phase, can deal with this Lucian as well. You need to remember, however, Corgi is not a hyper carry, so once you go to the real late game points, where of course the magic damage won't really scale up with the last Whisper, he's building the armor penetration, and that's where Corgi starts falling off. But still, early mid game, very, very strong.
And also they take LeBlanc here, something that's been banned a lot against Millenium, and I think ROCCAT's saying, okay, if we leave LeBlanc open and try and counter pick here with our last choice, the Millenium may just go in there and say, okay, Kurt's going to take LeBlanc and we'll be left without it. But that also now gives Millenium the chance to say, okay, it's LeBlanc, what does Kurt want to play against it?
Yeah, will Kurt actually try and go Twisted Fate against it? That would be very risky if it did, so it's very smart by ROCCAT to pick it early on here. And wow, I love this here. Syndra is such a good pick, or can be a very good pick, against LeBlanc in lane. It's a very hard matchup to play for both of them. The thing is, Syndra, she can outrange LeBlanc with her Q, and she can also stop the jump, the W from LeBlanc towards her. If you land your ball, the stun, once she jumps, you actually stop her mid-air, you land your Q, and once you hit level 6, you have so much burst damage. So you actually have a lot of outplay chances with Syndra here, and I definitely want to see what Curb can do on it.
Well, let's see what ROCCAT round their lineup with. Looking for a top lane pick for Xaxus. Already got the duo locked in. The Lee Sin for the jungle, the Blanc for overpower in the middle. What will Xaxus go for? He's already shown he's not shy of playing AP top laners, but you'd also have to say probably the two main ones are actually banned out here with Lulu and Kayle.
And Ryze would be the only AP top left. However, you don't really want to pick Ryze into Aurelia. It's a very hard matchup for him. So he has to go towards something else. And we've seen this Aatrox pick from him before. Puts a lot of pressure early on, especially with Jankos on Lee Sin. However, once you get to the late game points, we need to see what he can do on this Aatrox here. He's not a terrible late game champion, but however, he's not going to have the same impact as Aurelia in late game team fights.
We'll see if Xaxus can really pick things up. We heard from Millenium that he plays or has been playing a similar role to what Darian has done sometimes for Gambit. You know, okay, you end up losing out in a couple of scenarios, picking up a few more deaths than you maybe would really hope for, but if you can free up other areas of the map for your team then to be taking towers, be taking dragons, whatever that is, that can certainly work out for him. And guys, since the players have now chosen their champions, have you changed your minds? Send us a tweet at LOL Esports telling us who you think will win using hashtag MILWin or hashtag ROCWin, and we'll check out the results shortly. In terms of team comp, seeing a couple of different picks to the norm here in the EU LCS today.
Yeah, we see ROCCAT looking very aggressive early on. You have the Corki pick, LeBlanc, of course, very strong in laning phase. We need to see how the Syndra-LeBlanc matchup will go. I mean, again, both teams, there's room for outplay for both of them. However, Syndra, just looking at just the numbers and the stats here, definitely, or not definitely, will have a very small advantage. I know at least Kerpo thinks so, and that's why he, of course, picked it into LeBlanc here. But overall, ROCCAT are just looking to be so aggressive early on here and trying to win all the lanes here and trying to snowball the game.
Well, will we see the 10 KDA curve, or will we see the, I think it was 2 KDA curve?
1.25.
Okay, one, not even 2.
Yeah,
okay,
not
all
even
the 1.25 KDA curve. Either way, that's something that Kerp himself, I think, really needs to work on. The fact that he either wrecks everyone or, well, gets wrecked himself. We'll see in this one. He's going up against LeBlanc on the side of ROCCAT, playing Syndra into this one as we get into the match. Millenium taking on ROCCAT. Going to be a very interesting matchup. And again, we're at that mid-table point here once again, with Millenium trying to find some consistency in their play, string through more than 2 wins in a row, although they did that in the first week, funnily enough, with their only loss against the Copenhagen Wolves.
Look here early on, Overpowered is starting Flask. I know a lot of mid laners in Europe who really disliked starting with Flash because you're so squishy early on. You won't have the extra HP from the Dawn's Ring, won't even have the extra AP. But Opa is basically expecting a lot of poke coming from Kerp. Again, we talked about how the Q from Kerp has longer range than the Q from LeBlanc, so you can use it, stay behind, or stay far back, use the Q to poke him again and again here. But Overpower, risky start with Flask here. We need to see if it pays off, and we need to see what Kerp, of course, can do on this Syndra.
So then Millenium going early on, trying to find someone inside of that brush. There was no one there, funnily enough. Also want to just touch on trinkets at the start, because it got a slight variance. Cottonex going for the sweeping lens. Millenium, funnily enough, the ones that at the start of the split were picking up the scrying orb every now and then for their opening moves. Funnily enough, might help them out in this game if they'd have had it to check that red side brush. Either way, the wards go down early on. Looks like we're going to be seeing a fairly standard start, with Lee Sin starting his blue. Elise on the other side for Millenium will go down and start red.
Yeah, so it seems both of them actually just going to take down buffs here. Cottonex just checking, making sure ROCCAT isn't waiting for him in this bush here. Obviously, you don't want to face check early on, give up first part, and also delay your own jungle, give up multiple buffs to the other team. So, wise enough, checking, and Kevin as well staying around the blue buff to see if ROCCAT will late invading on it. And actually, Vander walking in just to ward it.
Let's have a look. There is who you guys think are going to win this one. Millenium 62%. Coming down a little bit from the LOLesports.com vote, which was a thorough 69%. As look at this, Jay Ree. He's having to go at Jankos, but I'm not sure that this is the best idea. He's gone a little too deep with a Q from Jankos. Point blank, dodge out, and he hits the binding at the end. Jay Ree looking very confident.
Yeah, this is not the first time Jay Ree has done this thing. When you lane swap, if you put your jungler on the opposite side of the map as where your dual lane is, it's very easy for the other team to move up, either try and stop you from taking the blue buff or at least poke you down. So Jankos took a lot of damage from Jari just moving up there, knowing there wouldn't be anyone else to help him, because of course, normally the top laner won't even be in the lane at this point. He's just waiting around to join in with the jungler.
So Zaz's back into lane. We kind of skipped over the start for him where he took the red buff on his own. And gives him the level 2. Also getting a ward in there just to see if anyone was waiting for him as he comes down to lane.
So this was the reason ROCCAT started the way they did. That's why Jankos had to start his own blue buff, because Zazas would pick up the red buff, and then Jankos would move straight to the enemy blue buff here. So multiple buffs for ROCCAT, no blue buff for Cottonex. Now he's moving with Kevin towards this bottom side here. You can just clear this out, get the timer from it, and ROCCAT won't be able to have the timer.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an annoyance for them moving forward. Also, with these 2v nothings as they are right now, although Aatrox is moving down towards that bottom lane, we'll see who gets the better of the farm. And once they see Aatrox, I'll tell you what, there's 4 men there. There's enough CC maybe to think about going under the tower. As it is, though, Kevin's just going to stick to the back of Cottonex, and they're going to do a bit of counter jungling.
Multiple people coming in.
Oh, this could be bad. Cottonex already down to half here, and they're going to focus Cottonex. He's going to go down. Overpower will pick up the first blood of Millenium. going a little bit too deep there and not realizing that ROCCAT had already got their number, really. Pushing around, Overpower gets the first kill and gets himself a red buff now as well.
Perfect start. They spotted them moving in towards the jungle here and just knew there's only 2 members because they could see both Jerry and Creaton in this bottom lane and just move straight in, pick up the net, going aggressive because Vander joins in.
And why not? 3 versus 2 down there. Kevin actually TPing back up to this top lane now after he lost his teammate just a little earlier on. Not the ideal start for CottonX, that's for sure. 0-1-0, picking himself up a pink ward actually after dying. And this mid lane, we talked a lot about it earlier on, being fairly quiet up until now, apart from Overpower just sauntering into his own jungle to basically last hit CottonX and steal that blue buff away. It's Kerp who's got a slight advantage in CS after close to 5 minutes.
Yeah, but a big wave for Overpower to pick up here. And you see the way he plays the lane, stays very passive, picks up a CS, then backs away. Don't even want to try and trade with Kerp. And normally you see LeBlanc being very in your face. He knows his limits, staying back and just trying to pick up as much farm as possible.
So CottonX actually giving a bit of help to Kevin in the top lane. Trying to stop Celiver bullying him really out of that one, and it's working for Millenium. 17-4 CS between those solo laners as Vander going to get involved as well, and that will actually force Millenium to start backing away, especially since CottonX had to go back off and get his farm on.
Vander's been running around quite a lot. He based, ran all the way down to bot lane, now been running all the way up to the top lane. He's actually very far behind in XP, but it is your support. You can sacrifice some XP by moving him around here, making sure he can assist the right lanes. Millenium keeping both Creaton and Jerry down his bottom lane to just push the wave up and try and get a little bit of poke on.
Yeah, actually landing there, and Jerry can't knock him on that so far. That little escapade into the enemy jungle before that almost cost him his life. He did manage to hit 2 bindings in a row on that front as well. So
the thing is,
looking good on that front.
Yeah, while it was good he went in, he got some poke on here, of course, he didn't have to use the flash or anything. Millenium should actually have moved both him and Creaton earlier towards his blue buff, because again, they were in the lane swap, could move up and stop Jankos from doing the blue buff if they were in position fast enough, and therefore trade 2 buffs with each other. Instead, because they didn't, or because Jerry came in so late, Jankos could take the blue buff by himself with no assistant. There was no top laner, no dual lane to help him out, and also then go straight towards the enemy blue buff and pick it up as well.
And leaves ROCCAT after the kill that followed as well in the lead. And that kill onto LeBlanc. We saw earlier on with Febiven's LeBlanc, once you get going, it can be sometimes a little tough to actually stop you. But for now, it is Kerp in that mid lane that's leading in terms of the farm, 53-49 CS, but that will be staying fairly even throughout this one. Meanwhile, top lane also being pressured. Lee Sin's going to be joining in with both Celiver and Vander. That turret actually really, really low here. So next wave, possibly, that could be the first turret for ROCCAT.
And we've seen some old school lane swap actually in this game, where the junglers, they go up and help the top laner to pick up some farm, push the wave down the bottom lane where Jankos and Sasus for a long time. And of course, CottonX was up in his top lane, helping Kevin out as well. So both teams just been happy enough getting some farm on the top laners and have the junglers help them, and now both of them are back to do their buffs, which means the dual lanes should be able to at least get some damage on the towers if they want to. Could also be the time for them to recall now, either rotate down to this bottom lane and start a dragon if the enemy team didn't move yet.
Just want to touch on the CS between Irelia and Aatrox. We see Sazas finally getting a bit more free time as Jerry's been left alone. Creaton headed back, and he's clawing back the CS deficit that he had just a little bit earlier on to Kevin, who also now has free time in the top lane because Celiver went back and picked himself up the BF sword.
And we need to see if Millenium actually want to go for this dragon, because Kevin with teleport can join in. Celiver won't be able to do it. You also have at least a great jungler for doing dragon early on, so they should have all the pressure on this bottom side of the map with their dual lane. If it just haven't been any focus on the dragon actually so far. Basically, CottonX been either defending top lane or farming, and down the bottom lane, they've just been happy farming away. So Millenium not putting any focus on the dragon so far.
Well, we'll see there's some wards going down there on ROCCAT's side. See if they are.
I mean, again, 2 people top lane here. Should be the easiest dragon in the world.
You would think so. And look at this, J-Ree. He disturbed the last blue buff. However, this time, he may have bitten off a little bit too much because Overpower's coming in. This is a great read from ROCCAT, and I think J-Ree could have maybe expected that, considering what happened the first time that this went down.
So, yeah, the first time they actually went in Millenium, invaded into the jungle. They were spotted by wards in the river. This time around, exactly the same thing. The ward was placed by Xaxus at the dragon while Millenium already had a ward, so they saw it go down, and yet Jerry moved up there to try and be annoying again, or maybe even steal the way or get the time off the buff. And ROCCAT just simply spot him moving up, single support, just a weak sheep moving towards you, and you just go straight and kill it.
That gives ROCCAT almost 1,000 gold lead. Dragon still untouched. We do have Celeber slightly behind in farm. Kevin just trying his best at range there, throwing his ultimate out. Just trying to make sure that he does get some of that gold into his pocket. Still ahead of his opposite number, Xaxus. Look at this, Jankos coming around. That leaves him 3 versus 1, and as I said before, that turret is actually low.
Yeah, so ROCCAT can send all the members up here, take the tower. However, it should mean the dragon for Millenium in exchange, and they're actually pinging it now. Finally, they feel confident enough to move towards the dragon.
Well, I think a calculated move from ROCCAT here. They probably know that that is going to happen to them. Turret is going to go down. Let's see then if the dragon will be following off. Dragon will be taken. Actually, Xaxus doesn't even bother to move up there for a look, and they will take that one. However, can they now stop ROCCAT from taking this inner turret in the top lane?
At least ROCCAT can get a lot of damage. Might be able to take it. I mean, look in the base here. Rest of Millenium just recalled. No home guards, of course. We're so early in the game. Doing a lot of damage here. Minions coming in as well.
Yep, they're going to take this tower. Kevin trying his best to lay down some damage, but it's not going to be enough. Syndra moving across as well. Overpowered, just dodging away from all that damage. And ROCCAT probably going to be happy with that trade. An inner turret and an outer turret traded for the dragon.
Of course, there's a very good move here. Moving up there, expecting Millenium to start the dragon once Jankos showed in the top lane. And it happened. Just kept pushing down.
They need to react as well because they're still pushing this one, ROCCAT. Still got 2 there. And they may have a 3rd with Lee Sin. Finally, Morgana will move across. It's Kevin that's trying to defend that inhibitor turret. I think ROCCAT probably not going to push their luck on that front. That's another good binding landing from Jerry. Obviously, support Morgana, not exactly masses of damage going to come through, but good for his confidence as the game goes on that he can still land those skill shots.
Yeah, he's been landing some good bindings at least. Also onto Jankos early on, of course, landed 2 of them. Got him very low. Oh. Curb here. Nope. Yeah, there's the ward. Jankos already gone.
Slightly too late on that. Now, Millenium here. Stacking up a couple of men in this mid lane. Elise just backing away. There's a binding coming in. Actually did land onto Overpower, but Kurt decides against it. That decides against going all in onto that one. Had his ultimate available. Had Ignite as well, but obviously felt like he doesn't have enough damage just yet with the workings of that Athene's Unholy Grail.
Yeah, still building up here on his items. We need to remember Syndra, of course, late game can do so much burst damage if you pick the right target. That's always the thing about Syndra. You're very immobile, so we could see ROCCAT focus a lot of the CC onto Curb and just kill him instantly because there's no jumps on the Syndra.
Well, probably need to be honest with you.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the point that you make there, why I think a lot of teams tend to avoid Syndra, that she is slow, that she's got real no defense mechanisms apart from when you've got Flash available to you, which Kerp at the moment does have. Again, you can touch on these 2 AD carries because Cretan still has a lead over Celeber. Actually has his Bloodthirster complete. If you look over the other side, Celeber has the BF Sword, has the Vamp Scepter, but hasn't yet finished off that first major item. And with the support down bottom now from Vander, this turret may take a bit of damage, although we see that Cotton X has moved down there as well. J-Rees also reappeared in the bottom lane to help his AD carry out, and ROCCAT just decided to back away from things.
Stops the recall here. Curb has to back away and do the same thing, while Opa, just staying in the mid lane, can now push the way off if he wants to. Seems for now he actually wants to go towards this top lane. Never mind, decided to actually go back. So I'm not really sure what ROCCAT's plan is at the moment. It is running a little bit back and forth. You even see Jankos didn't even buy boots yet, so his mobility isn't even too high at the moment. He's basically just running around, looking for an opening, maybe looking for Millenium to make a play and then try and counter engage onto it.
Let's have a look at this top lane again. Finally, Kevin and Xaxus having time against each other. You see that overall, that global gold in favor of Xaxus, thanks to ROCCAT's turret pressure and obviously how well they're doing overall in this game. He is slightly behind in the CS, does have himself a cutlass and actually freezing this lane close to his turret now as well.
Yeah, but Kevin did manage to do really well in this lane swap because Vander was roaming around while Jerry stayed with Cretan in his bottom lane. So there were always 2 members to try and deny farm from Xaxus, where Kevin was one-on-one for most of the time. Picked up quite some farm here. Once he returns to the lane though, Sasa has actually frozen it in front of the tower, so Kevin needs to just wait for it to unfreeze or go up and do it by himself.
This mid lane, I thought with two burst heavy champions like LeBlanc and Syndra that we'd probably be seeing some, let's say, quick action that'll probably be keeping the cameramen on their toes. But up until now, Overpower and Kerp, I think, choosing not really to risk anything on that front. And in fact, it's Kerp that does lead there in terms of the farm. This bottom lane also taking a lot of damage here onto the turret. Creaton not going to be forced to tank anything up. However, Jankos is moving down. Overpower is going to come in as well, and Creaton is not going to be able to escape from this one. They throw everything at him. Selva gets that one. Meanwhile, Saz's up in the top lane. He's got his blood well, but will that be enough to actually keep him alive? No, it won't. That's going to be a kill back for Millenium.
Could also be the tower here for Millenium in the top lane. So very nice moves. Kerp doing a lot of damage to the mid tower. ROCCAT sent multiple members to try and stop them down this bottom lane. Only managed to get a kill, still lost the tower. So very good moves by Millenium now. Getting a top tower as well.
Top tower will fall down to less than half HP. Middle was saved actually by Overpower. And the three of them down on this bottom lane actually having a decent time of things. Only J Ree there for now to stop that inner turret from taking too much pressure. And that actually could be a bit of a problem. We see there ROCCAT doing almost half damage to it.
Yeah, just pushing down as well. Both teams trading towers back and forth and trading kills. We see they're actually pretty much playing the same way, just in opposite sides of the map.
Again, we see how Brown can knock out most of the damage there, like Creaton was doing over to him. And it's been a bit of a strange game, this one. Very low scoring and I think very tentative on both teams, on both sides. Neither team really wanting to risk anything, wanting to pile on to anyone. Yes, of course, we saw that 2v1 to Zazas up on the top side and kills down bottom. But ROCCAT have been quite happy with, okay, we get maybe one kill here or just push them away from the turret and go for those turrets themselves.
And both teams have been happy trading. So once you saw a tower go down the top lane, well, we got the Dragon from Millenium. They did lose a second tower, however, which meant it was in favor of ROCCAT. But still, they had the whole idea in their mind. Once we see multiple members top, we just go Dragon, take it, trade it for the top tower. And the same thing here. Bot tower went for Millenium. ROCCAT came down, responded, took the bot tower as well with the counter gank.
So this could be interesting then. Dragon is live. Millenium got 3 men on the bottom side of it. We can see both Irelia and Aatrox have teleport available, so they can get involved here should they be needed. Millenium actually have backed away somewhat. That's because Overpower's doing some damage to this middle tower. And just the way that it's gone, the slow start, really, the slow opening 15 minutes, tells me that neither team, unless they're 100% sure that they're safe to go into the Dragon, that they're not going to do it.
Well, the thing is, Millenium can wait for Kerp to find a target. He just built DFG, so he can blow up people and just look for a target out of position, instantly destroy them with all the bursts from Syndra, and then go towards the Dragon. And ROCCAT can try and do the same thing, where either Corki goes in with the LeBlanc, or just Lee Sin and LeBlanc goes in together, finds a target, and just bursts them down, because you have so much burst here in the early game from these champions.
Who's that going to be though? Who are they going to catch? As the walls going to be exchanged over the top of that wall. Stun not quite got the range to land onto Overpower. He'd be an ideal target for Kerp to blow to pieces before they start off this Dragon dance. And actually ROCCAT are already in there, got their pink wards down on one side. And now, are they going to start off the Dragon here? They know that Millenium have a decent force on the backside. I mentioned before, both top laners still up top, but both have teleport available to them.
We need to see who wants to teleport first and how they want to position. If you notice Kevin moving back on your minimap, you know Millenium want to try and set something up. And for the same, Sazas, he's pretty much forced to stay at the tower for now and just farm, because Kevin keeps pushing it in. He's ahead in XP. We talked about how he won out on the lane swap. No power. Took some burst damage here, or some damage.
Kind of surprised to not see Kerp at least give it a test there. You know, you land the stun, throw everything at him, say, okay, I can kill him right now, which may quite well be the case with that.
You could force him low, force him to recall to base, and then go for the Dragon from Millenium. Instead though, ROCCAT starting at the pink ward. He can't even spot the green ward because it's just outside the pit.
Just around the corner from that one, as Vander trying to keep them away. Dragon's actually down to less than half HP. Are ROCCAT going to stick to this one? There is a cocoon landing. And they back away. Millenium don't want a piece of this one. ROCCAT also letting the Dragon reset. Are they going to start it off again? No, they back away completely. So Millenium stopping ROCCAT getting in there and taking that Dragon.
Just dancing around it. I mean, started, As soon as they see someone moving, ROCCAT just backs away. Don't even want to try and risk a fight while they're tanking the dragon at the same time. And they also want full control of where Curb is moving because they don't want to get blown up by him. And they want to, he should be the target for him to catch up because Lucian, he can dash away. Curb, he can't do anything.
Speaking of Curb, he's approaching 200 CS. Probably sat on a decent chunk of gold as well. Over 1,000 in fact that he can cash in the next time he goes home. Same going for Creaton, who's got 1,800 and 1,000 on the jungler as well. And that's the kind of cash that you're gonna want to have in items rather than just pure cash when or if, as this game seems to be, when the dragon gets started.
Once it actually gets started, ROCCAT managed to recall now, spend a goal on both LeBlanc and Corgi, and now moving back towards this dragon area. If they spot Millenium recall at a bad position, they might go straight forward and just force it.
Well, there's blue buff for both mid laners. So they will be feeling more confident. Actually setting up here possibly in middle Millenium, trying to catch one out. Always hard to land the cocoon or even the binding onto a champion like LeBlanc, who's got the double dash even if he wants to use that ultimate. And there we see pressure now on the turret. That was already down very, very low from earlier on. Finally, Millenium going to put down some damage there, finish that one off, and now they're backing over towards the dragon area. We'll sweep out a couple of these wards, one from the death brush, one from that top river brush. And now Millenium moving in there, but there's still that pink ward at the front, so ROCCAT not without vision at this stage.
It was actually a smart move by Millenium. They saw Corgi down his bottom lane and knew, okay, there's not enough Wakeful in his mid lane for them to do anything. And just went straight there from base, killed the tower. It was already low, as you said, because Kirby got it down earlier while Creaton went down the bottom lane. Overall, just picked up a tower. Doesn't change too much when it comes to dancing around this dragon area, because it's the same deal. Both teams just waiting around, seeing what's going to happen here. But at least all the outer turrets are now gone, so Millenium can at least move further in the jungle of ROCCAT, get a few deep wards if they want to, and if they actually win the fight here around this dragon, and then later on use it to find some picks.
Oh, dragon started off by ROCCAT. Ward comes over the top, so they know that that's there. They're going to get this one. Okay. ROCCAT finally take the dragon. It's they're smited away by Jankos in the end. Second one of the game, of course, and the first one for ROCCAT. Let's have a look at how that leaves us. Just 900 to 1,000 gold separating these two teams, slightly in ROCCAT's favor.
And they were basically just waiting for Millenium to recall. No, he needs to be careful.
Oh, he's face checking. That one gets kicked away. Celeber going to Valkyrie in, and that's an easy kill. Creaton out of position completely, and you know, these slower games, it can happen that you lose your concentration.
100%. I mean, he didn't expect him to move from the dragon into his bottom lane, so he just walked straight out there, face checked even into them, died, and now a lot of damage. They might even be able to take the tower here from ROCCAT, and it will be the second tower then they can take. Yeah, they actually got it already.
Oh, there's the stun coming down. They're going to go for Vander. Kerp is going to pick that one up. Did use his DFG, and a lot to throw at the support, but kill's still a kill. That's going to help Kerp. I mean, he's also sat at 224 CS at this point, so definitely farmed up nicely. And look at this, Kevin going down towards Jankos. Overpower also is killing a ward, which 22 minutes in, that's one of the highlights as well.
Well, 2 towers down the top lane, two towers down the bottom lane.
That's the thing, we're 22.5 minutes in. Actually, we've got no towers except in the base, the bottom, and the top lane here for Millenium. So, although it's been slow on the kills and really on the action as well, ROCCAT have taken their chances here and taken 2 inner turrets.
They played very safe. You can say it's it for both teams here, but ROCCAT just been waiting for Millenium to make one mistake, get a kill, take 1 or 2 towers, take the dragon, you know, get these objectives going for them, and they're really looking for the big team fights. We saw every time Millenium moved towards the dragon, they just backed away. Like, don't even want to deal with it. Just simply waiting around, playing very passive and looking for mistakes from the other team.
There's another ward in the mid lane taken down. Let's have a look at some items. I've got a feeling we've got a couple of minutes to kill until the next fights actually appear in this game. So, mid laners want to focus on them because, as I said before, the DFG and now the Athenes finished off for Kerp. Other side, Void Staff and the Athenes were already there. And we also have for Overpower needlessly large rod and his Fiendish Codex. Are you going to start tuning for wards now as well?
Yes.
We might have to find a replacement.
Simply to annoy you.
Well, there's a trap. Kerp actually going to come in again. It's not on to Overpower. How are they going to finish him? No, because it's LeBlanc, and he jumps away.
Jumped away. Ulti was used by Curb, however, so got some damage onto him, and now pushing up towards this mid lane. Kevin, of course, still in this top lane with Aatrox. Both teleports is up. Salvador is coming in from the side, playing the way.
Coming in from the side, those bombs of his ultimate doing decent amounts of damage. Working towards his Trinity Force now, already got the Phage and the Sheen. Obviously, he started with the Bloodthirst, and look at Kevin, where's he going to come? Are they going to try and have a go on this middle inner turret? Oh, Overpower waiting off to the side. There is that pink ward in there that they've already spotted with the ward anyway. That's a nice little pickup for Millenium, but what are they going to do with it? Getting some wards down, but backing off, which tells me that ROCCAT are just going to walk straight out there. Vanda's going to start sweeping, and they're going to get the control back.
And also a red buff here. Curb needs the ulti back before he can pick a target to kill. At least we saw the idea from Millenium. Hide around, get some good wards, try and spot ROCCAT out, and then land a stun, long-range stun from Curb. He can actually do it out of vision range from you, so you don't even spot him. He just comes from the fog of war, just whoop, straight in. There's a ball, hits you, stuns you. However, he didn't have the damage to take down Overpower yet. Jumped away. I don't even think he actually had to use the DFG, or could get in range to use the DFG before. But this Millenium, both teams actually are just looking for the one pick to then take a tower, to then take a dragon, and try and extend the goal lead, or catch up.
Or catch up, and there's only 1,500 difference between the two teams. 25.5 minutes in, 4-3 on turrets. We've got more towers down than kills so far, actually, Deficio.
Joe Miller.
Might stay this way as well. We'll have to see about that one. Either way, Dragon in 1.5 minutes. Teams going to start warding up for that one. We can see that Vanda and Jankos already moving through, and they spot a pink ward from Millenium's side, of which will be used to clear out that vision once again.
So Overpower actually went for DFG himself. Normally, once LeBlanc starts with a Fiend, you go into Death Cap, into a Void Staff. He went for DFG, so focus on trying to burst down a target himself. Could be Curb, of course. We keep talking about how Syndra is a very easy target to pick, and all these wards going down.
Yeah. And important as well because the Dragon.
Yes.
Less than a minute's time. There's Kevin.
Oh, there it is.
I'm still not a fan of encouraging it.
There's a pink more here, though. Oh, he wants it.
Does he know it's there? Well, even if he does, not going to go challenging for that one. Backing away. Millenium getting some wards of their own over on the blue buff side. And in the end,
20
ROCCAT
seconds for Dragon here. This time around, it's Millenium actually in the river, waiting for ROCCAT to move. Celavar just dodged the binding and the cocoon from Cotnex here. Didn't want to get locked up and just blown to pieces, which of course is the thing about the Millenium comp. When you have Morgana and Elise, double CC, if you land it on one target, you follow up with the next, and they're locked down for like 5 seconds. Very easy for the rest of Millenium to then pick up a kill. So that's, again, one of the reasons ROCCAT needs to be careful.
This is a vision war if I've ever seen one. There we go, Dragon has spawned, and it started off by ROCCAT down to half HP. Teleport coming in, Kevin coming up from the top side. ROCCAT backing away somewhat. Dragon's probably going to reset here. There's Kevin up on the top side. Overpower coming in there, doesn't use the DFG just yet. Cotnex also taking a couple of big hits. There's the Cullen coming out and will be blocked by Vanda.
Well,
a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there.
Backing away for now. You saw Overpower in this top lane here, just looking to flank around on Millenium, trying to get a squishy target in the back. He got Kevin, therefore he didn't use the DFG, and now just waiting. Celavar pushing up this bottom lane, and should now return up here. But look here, Sal's actually recalling because he still has teleport. Kevin had to use his.
Kevin uses.
And there it is. No.
Actually getting stunned up. A bit risky there from Celavar. Jankos gonna come in there. Takes down the pink one, and we need to see some ward stats from this one.
Yeah,
crowd obviously enjoying.
At this point, just put down a ward, let them kill it, and hear the crowd cheer.
It's not a bad strategy though.
Nope.
And actually, Millenium forcing ROCCAT away, just their sheer presence of ward killability gonna force them off. They've started the Dragon as well. A couple of wards coming in. TP gonna get started. Dragon, is he gonna be pulled off from? There's the kick. His kick connects away. He's gonna repel back in. Dragon goes over towards Millenium. We've already seen 3 kills now coming down from ROCCAT side. And there they go. Onto Crimson as well. He gets 1 kill on his way out, but will be picked up in the end by Celiver. And that's 4 kills coming in for ROCCAT. Millenium, in the end, did get the Dragon though.
Such a good team fight though. Both junglers were actually out of the fight because they were just fighting over the Dragon here, but the rest of ROCCAT went in and we saw Overpower. Notice here, Overpower up in the top of your minimap. He's just waiting around. Kirby is actually trying to force him away. Meanwhile, the rest of the team are just fighting each other. Jerry goes down, his stun doesn't proc, and then Kirby, he's the target for Overpower, just waiting and waiting, pops him very low. Celiver joins in, easy kill for ROCCAT. And man, the patience on Overpower just waiting and waiting and waiting. He knew the rest of his team could survive. As soon as Kirby was out of position, jump him, kill him.
One swift move like that from ROCCAT gets them not only the kills, but the Baron straight away after that one as well. And actually will increase their lead to 5,000 gold. Also taking down that outer middle turret. Still one left on the inner. That's pretty much all Millenium are hanging on to at this stage outside of their base. Now I'm interested to see what ROCCAT do with the Baron buff on.
Yeah, so if they group up 5 members and just start pushing down the mid lane, it opens up for Millenium to try and get a counter engage onto them. We talked about the Elise Morgana. We know all the burst damage from Curb here. A lot of chances for Millenium to find a target from ROCCAT if they're trying to group up and siege. So we might actually see ROCCAT say, you know what? ROCCAT say, we don't want to just go 5 mid. We want to spread out on the map and try and do what we've been doing so far in the game. Find a person out of position. Full burst from Overpower. Sas is maybe split pushing by himself, finding a target, can join in by the rest of ROCCAT and pick up a kill, and not necessarily just moving down and try and go for a tower and siege it.
So, half an hour point hit on this one. Guess what? We've got some more items coming out. Last Whisper going to be added in for Celiver. Also, Locket picked up here by Jankos on Lee Sin, and also we can see Face of the Mountain completed for Vander on Brownlee. Last items coming in from that one. And again, I think we might be right on that, you know. They're going to sit back, wait for those picks to come in.
Again, the thing is, it's very hard for ROCCAT to siege with this combi. I mean, LeBlanc doesn't do too much tower damage. Celiver, fairly short range, and there it is!
What have we become? I'm not sure. So, I mean, let's be honest, it's still better than watching England.
True. I didn't want to say it because of the crowd, now you said it.
There we go. Binding coming in onto Vander. I'm allowed to take some English now.
Exactly.
We all feel the pain.
And I'm Danish and we're not even in the World Cup.
Just going at it here. Those wards inside of the side brush by the Wraiths. Massacred.
Destroyed.
So
almost feel sorry for these wards.
They have souls too. ROCCAT getting full control here, at least, of the Millenium jungle.
It's what they can do with the Baron buff.
Exactly.
Move down, get some deep wards, try and spot out Millenium if they want to move in for the blue buff or the red buff, and look for this target here. Because you see, ROCCAT can just group up 5 members. It's too risky for them to group up 5 and try and just instantly take down a tower. They need to get a kill or maybe dive onto Millenium. Oh, there, might see it.
Overpower actually catching Kevin here, waiting for those cooldowns to come back up. There's the dive in. Does manage to get it, and now it's 5v4. Mid tower going to be put. Jankos and Celiver onto that one. Celiver just going to cut out the minion wave before it gets around. Not even needing to tank it. That is another tower. Only the base now left standing for Millenium.
Look here, Overpower moving to join with the rest of the team because there are 5 members here. We might see them go for a dive with Aatrox. Remember, he's passive. Can use it and then get out afterwards. Still 23 seconds on Kevin here. This is the time for ROCCAT to move in.
I'd agree with that one. Zaz's actually going to dive in onto the top of it, but nope, denies on that front. And ROCCAT here going to back away on things. Bottom lane actually not pushing in their favor. They do have the top lane pushing from their side. However, bottom lane needs to be dealt with here and pushed through if they want to focus on more than one lane at once. So I think is the way to crack the Millenium defensive nut.
We did, however, see ROCCAT wanted to dive but the stun from Curb stopped Aatrox just as he jumped up in the air. The ball hit him, stunned him, and he couldn't actually go for the dive. So at least ROCCAT, they knew, we're 5 now, only 4 members from Millenium, we can dive this one, we can get the kills, we can take inhibitor. However, Curb saved the day.
Curb saves the day. I think we need some ward-based stats for our statistician there as well. I think that's what everyone would enjoy. Actually, probably the most impressive statistics from this game as well. There's a lot of wards gone down.
I also like how Panky and Unsu, of course, the observers, just keep following people around, looking for these wards to go down every time. So we catch every single one.
Well, that's good. I mean, there's not much else going on to really miss the ward kill, so whatever. Either way, though, look at that top left-hand corner. Dragons coming up in 20 seconds. ROCCAT already getting in position. We've got Baron coming up in 2 minutes as well, so an action-packed 2 minutes definitely coming our way. 34.5 minutes into the game. ROCCAT's lead extending here. Why not? Some TSM chants in there as well, and there is the Dragon. So freebie this time around for ROCCAT.
Of course, I mean, they have control of the map after the Baron. They got some deep wards in to control the lanes, push it all the way down to the base. Picked up, of course, the late game Dragon, giving quite a lot of gold over to the side of ROCCAT, so extending the lead. I have a feeling they might just wait for the Baron, however, to actually spawn and maybe try and bait it out, or just take it straight up and try and do the same thing they did before with the last Baron buff.
Well, most definitely. The way, pensive way that ROCCAT have played this one so far, I don't see them pushing in, thinking about making a move without having that Baron buff in their favor. We see their Celeber a little scared to go down. They've lost a lot of control of the wards that they had on the bottom side of Millenium's jungle, so they certainly need to be a little wary with that one, especially since Baron timer is pretty much a death timer at this point. If you die at this stage, you're not going to come back up before that Baron actually comes in play.
Exactly, and that's why Millenium is playing it so safe. You also see all the pink wards for them, placed in their own jungle, because again, they just want to keep the vision, want to make sure ROCCAT isn't even there. Warding, and Vanda, of course, setting up some wards around this Baron pit so they can now spot Millenium moving in if they want to try and stop them.
So, Zaza's pushing the bottom lane out. TP is up, as it is for Kevin as well. So Kevin's going to have to go down bottom possibly here in a second to make sure that they don't lose out on that one. And of course, with the Baron up in 10 seconds, everyone getting in there. There's a scrying orb actually used.
A bit early.
Creaton.
Just looking to see if ROCCAT were waiting multiple members to try and kill them if they moved in here. Could have saved it if ROCCAT now starts the Baron straight up. They won't have it, of course, need to wait for the cooldown. Still in a fine enough position. I actually see Jankos taking the blue buff, so he's behind Millenium at the moment.
Yeah, that could actually turn out to be pretty damn interesting. Got vision of them. Have they actually spotted Jankos? They've not spotted. Here he comes. Will Kid come through. Have they got the damage here? No one really putting the pressure down. Wow. It's Creaton though that's focused. Jankos on the killing spree. Both Jerry and Curb having to back away. But look, the Santos diving headfirst into the rest of them. Kevin here pops his Randuins, but Celeber is now unstoppable, and they're going to keep going through on this one. Curb got no mana to keep himself alive. That's a double kill for Celeber. Are they going to push for it? 50 seconds on Curb, 35 on Creaton. Are they going to finish the game? I don't think they are. They're going to go back for Baron.
Don't have any minions. If they had minions, they could actually push into the base of Millenium. However, now forced to go back towards the Baron. We'll pick it up unless we see Cutnex with the steal.
So, Baron start. That's what you should really be cheering for. Either way, half HP done on that one, and look, we see that Overpower just keeping those 2 members of Millenium that were actually still on the map away from the Baron area, keeping them in that mid lane. We're going to see ROCCAT actually recalling here after picking up that Baron, all of them with over about 1500 gold, and there's Jankos from the back again.
Notice here, Jerry instantly as the fight starts, puts the Black Shield on Curb, so Creaton so far back from the rest of the team. He's just left alone. There's nothing he can do once Sassel actually comes in. Jankos joins, just kill him, and they can just clean up the fight now. I mean, look at Overpower on the ground, look at Celeber. They're untouched. The carries from ROCCAT are untouched in these fights here because Millenium can never find an opening.
We saw that a lot of focus is put towards Zazas, but that's an Aatrox with a Guardian Angel.
I mean, he doesn't care.
There's not really a lot you can do against that Aatrox. We have now a Mexican wave going in the stadium. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
For ROCCAT, obviously, who are ahead in this game. Baron buff now on. 40 minutes into it as well. See a couple more items coming. Actually, the Banshee's Veil for Celiva, offering him a bit more protection.
Overall, Banshee actually for both sides work really well because of LeBlanc and because of Syndra, of course, to stop some of the bursts coming in there. Now ROCCAT, though, doing the same thing they did with the last Baron buff. Split up in multiple lanes, push all the lanes down, and then look for a kill. Or we can maybe see them go fight together, and if they feel like they're strong enough, or they catch them out of position, they might just go for the dive.
Thunder actually on the front. They've got Overpower pushing the top wave in, Celiva pushing that bottom lane out as well. Still needs to be careful though. I mean, if Kevin dives on him at this point, Randuin's and that Trinity Force might be able to give him a good run for his money, although also have to say Celiva is pretty strong at this point. 6-0-3. Might be a little bit too tough of a call for him to go in for.
We just need to see ROCCAT find this one kill to set everything open. Nothing happening so far. Millenium staying very safe in their own base. Don't even want to try and go for any fights. Just trying to create a wave every single time. And definitely think Overpower could be the man to get the kill.
Well, you have to feel at 40 minutes in, one kill is pretty much enough to open up the floodgates to get that actually going. So that they can push with all 5 versus 4 on Millenium side. But where is that going to come from? We've got Xaxus and Jankos pushing mid lane constantly. We've got Overpower constantly on top lane, Vander and Celiva both on the bottom side. Everyone wants to see wards.
Yeah.
It's hard to disagree.
Yeah, sadly, the further into the enemy base you get, the less wards. Oh, that might be the pick.
There it is. He's missed the combo though. Chain's not coming through. That could have been different using everything. And actually, they're going to push into this one. Turret is going to go down with Kerp having to go back here to heal. That offers ROCCAT their way in. Are they going to stick around? Actually, they're going to back straight away. Surely go to this middle lane or to the top, which both of them pass the halfway point.
Dragon is open, or Dragon is up here. Might just go straight for the Dragon. Actually, no, they're staying around here.
I think they're just going to wait until that DFG comes back off cooldown, and Overpower's going to be diving over the wall once again, seeing if you can have a go at anyone. Kind of easy to pop the Banshee's Veils when you've got a Corki in your team as well, who can just throw his ultimate in there and stop those Banshees from being so effective. There's a binding actually landing onto Jankos. There is all the damage thrown through, but not really denting ROCCAT all that much, and they just turn it back around. Going to push back in, try and do some damage. Then Overpower again onto J-Ree, but no full combo. He does have the DFG available now though.
We actually see him every time he goes in. He's just looking for one of the squishy targets, and J-Ree is very fast on his black shields. Getting some damage down the tower, just one hit, and once again Overpower.
Oh, going on towards Kevin this time, who not sure it's the right target, but look at this. Xaxus has gone in the back. They're going to go for Xaxus. He's going to get blown up, but he's going to GA. He's got his passive as well. They're going to lock him up for a second time. Now you've got to kill him again. As Overpower comes in, they kill Kurt, almost getting away as well. 1 for 1, but ROCCAT have taken down the inhibitor. They're going to have the inhibitor as well. And Celiva going to dive in there. That might actually cost him here. They do get one more. Celiva, is he going to fall? Yes, he is. Finished off there by Creaton, but he will then be finished himself. Oh, will he? He's still somehow managing to hold on. He throws the Colin in complete opposite direction, and they've repelled the ROCCAT attack.
Oh, almost there. Nope. Jumps away.
Kevin's not done. Oh,
into the
nicely done. Nice little move there by Cornex. Meanwhile, look at Creaton. He's inside of the enemy. His own base. I'm getting a little bit too excited, I think, about this one, Deficio. Defending his own base, or not, because he loses that single Nexus turret. And ROCCAT, it might not be the flashy go in there, get the fight, win the game.
They get the tower.
Slowly but surely, though, they are going through. They've got one hit down.
So Xaxus simply said, as soon as Overpower actually went in, forced Kevin back, he was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for this one. Jumped in here. The rest of the team actually stayed back and just hit the tower, while Xaxus with Guardian Angel, with his passive, was just buying time for him to take it down. So now open inhibitor in the mid lane. Of course, the bot lane should be respawning fairly soon as well. And of course, Baron coming up in about 1 minute.
Yeah. 1 minute, 10 seconds for the next Baron. A 14 or 15,000 gold lead as it really is for ROCCAT. A massive amount of gold. We've already seen though that Millenium's still capable of picking up a couple of kills here if they make mistakes about it. The Guardian Angel down for Xaxus would be a slight problem for them. Obviously his Bloodwell not going to be up just yet either, so if they can actually manage to finish him off, that could certainly be an interesting one. If they can, yeah.
I mean, he's still very, very tanky. It's not an easy target to just take down, of course. That's blue buff.
So apparently the crowd weren't chanting TSM.
Oh.
They were saying T is yum. That's what Quickshot's telling me. I'm probably just being trolled right now. I'm never quite sure, to be honest. We'll see. So, 10 seconds till the next Baron. Kevin's still busy down on the bottom side of their own base, fending off these super minions.
Baron. Happy New Year.
Happy birthday, happy birthday for Baron. He's back up.
Now you're dead.
And he's going to die straight away after. ROCCAT will have this one. Millenium still fending off these super minions and trying to push out these waves as far as they possibly can before the next ROCCAT onslaught comes around. They may actually just be headed home first of all, though. There's 1,200 gold for Xaxus, 1,000 gold for Vander to spend.
I mean, take your time, why not? This game is not going anywhere. However, ROCCAT now, golden opportunity because 2 inhibitor towers are gone. So they can go straight in, take inhibitor, or force a fight. And then it's only going to be the Nexus towers, or then there's actually only one Nexus
tower. There's only one.
Or the top lane as the next target where they might be a little bit scared to go in. But still, keep in mind, with Morgana, with Elise, Millenium still has a chance. As long as they can break these benches first, of course, to maybe land a snare, and maybe go in and instant kill someone, therefore win the fight.
Well, Dragon...
Notice I say maybe.
Maybe. Maybe, who knows? They get another Dragon though. 3rd of 5 this game. Actually, they've got as many Barons as they've had Dragons, funnily enough. Now let's see, ROCCAT here, grouping up on the bottom lane. They've got Xaxus pushing down the mid lane. His GA is going to be up soon, and his Bloodwell is now available. So he's got the survivability on that one. Also has his teleport available should that be called in, as Jankos going to get the binding on him, but that's not really something that they want to follow through on. Not really the right target. And watch Overpower, because he's going to be the playmaker here. Dive over the wall and start things off. They need Celeber to knock those Banshee's Veils out of things first though, so minions are now hitting away on towards that inhibitor in the middle lane. Jankos stepping forward. Kevin's Banshee's Veil somehow still alive. There's Overpower. Not going in though.
ROCCAT is just waiting for Overpower to actually find a target, try and burst it down, and then try and go for the engage. Xaxus' passive is ready now, so you can go in, take the damage, come back to life, of course. Overpower now moving towards the mid lane, poking a little bit onto it.
And the poke actually causing them a few problems down bottom. Celeber going to set to going for J-Ree. He's going to drop down instantly. Kevin's right in the middle of him as well. Kicked around by Lee Sin, and that'll be a double for Celeber. 3 more left to take down. Cully comes out, but that's not really going to do much. Celeber, in fact, tanks it all up. Meanwhile, Kurt will be picked off by Overpower in the mid lane. He's now on a rampage, and ROCCAT, with 4 kills, only Creatine left to defend the base, are going to push through, finish off the turret, and finish off the game here after 47 minutes.
So ROCCAT simply in the end here were just looking for one chance to engage. They saw it, jumped onto J-Ree, who had an hourglass, couldn't use it in time. He went down instantly, and ROCCAT were just so far ahead in items, and gold in general. It was just a matter of time before they found the right team fight to actually win it.
22,000 gold was the lead for ROCCAT by the end of that one. To say they were ahead is somewhat of an understatement. Actually, Overpower, Xaxus, and Celeber all round about 20,000 gold apiece, all on pretty much full item builds. Tripping up on stage, and not a problem. They won the game 18-5 in kills. It took them 47 minutes and about 47,000 wards, but they did